Esther is joining us. I'm Jessica. Esther will be answering or looking and reading the questions for me. So if you have any questions as we go through this training, go ahead and put them in the chat or question box, and she will relay them to me as we go through the different sections. So let me just go ahead and get my screen shared with you. So this evening for Cookie Chat, we just want to talk about the cookie exchange. We also want to show you how to do the troop-to-troop transfers, and then we're going to talk about girl transactions from it. So let's go ahead and talk about the cookie exchange. So the cookie exchange is a tab here, and this is a place that you can utilize if you have extra cookies that you realize that maybe you were planning for booths and now the girls have decided that, or the families have decided they don't want to do booths. So you have extra cases of cookies or even packages. Maybe you realize that you only needed one of the s'mores, and so you want to try to get rid of some of the other ones if another troop just needs a couple packages. You could post those up onto the cookie exchange. So the cookie exchange is something that is really great to utilize. So when you click on that cookie exchange tab, you'll see here what your offerings are. So right now it's all zeros. So if I said I wanted to offer 5 packages of lemon ups. Okay, that this can be used anytime during the season, but we do just want to make sure you keep it up to date. So you put in the number of packages that you want to offer up, and then you're going to click Update Packages to Exchange. And so you're going to see it says exchange offering updated. So you click OK, and that's going to show your information to the other troops. You're not going to be listed down here when you click. It's just going to show you the other troops, but you would be showing to them from it. So don't be afraid, because some people always email us or call us every year and go, well, I don't see myself. You're not going to see yourself because you're already listed at the top. Everyone else is going to see you, just like they can't see themselves when down here. But this is where you just click on, and it will show you the troop information of who that person is, their email address, and their service unit. And I do just want to show you where you can kind of find a little bit more information about service unit, locations, and things like that if you're not aware of who is around you. From the council, we have all of this information here. So you'll see where it says service unit area info. And when you click on that, that's where the service unit area map is. It also has the list of service units, their number there, and their county. So it does show you what county it is, but sometimes you might border up to counties. So you want to see how close someone might be there. So when you open up, if it likes me, maybe not, there it goes. You'll see on the map, and so it does list the name of the service unit, so you can see where they are, how close to you. But again, if somebody is posting a large amount of cookies that they're trying to get rid of, then hopefully they would be very cooperative, and maybe they will, not mind the drive to you if it's reasonable. Also, you may just want to reach out to somebody, especially if it is, a case or two that you want to take off of somebody's hands. To see where they actually are, because just remember, some people, live in one county but work in another county, so it may be very possible that they could be very close to you. So it doesn't hurt to ask them. So that's why you can email them. So it is important to make sure that if you are posting on the cookie exchange, to make sure that you update it. So if you had a troop that contacted you and they took 3 of your lemon ups, then you want to make sure you change it to 2 and update your packages. Okay, we're going to do a troop to troop transfer. The system doesn't know who you transferred it to until you tell it by a troop to troop transfer. Also, if you ended up giving the other 2, or maybe your girls ended up selling the other 2, so you just needed to take them off, you could either change it, or you can just click the purple remove my offerings, and it zeroes you out. So you're no longer there on the exchange tab from it. So it's real important to make sure that you do keep your numbers on there up to date, because that was one of the things that frustrates troops trying to use it, because they try to contact people and they go, oh, I don't have those cookies. Well, you have it still posted on there, especially if they say, well, I haven't had that in weeks. Well, then you should have taken it off and updated your number there. Okay, so please remember to do that. So now we're going to talk about that troop to troop transaction. Transfer. So under your transaction tab, you're going to do an add transaction. Instead of cupboard, you're going to see troop. And then this is where you would be putting in the troop that you gave the cookies to. It should always be done by the troop that is removing the cookies from their inventory, okay? Because you'll see how it defaults. It already automatically shows remove product there from it. So some people like to put their own receipt number just because they like to keep it in there. Some people, what I have seen do is they'll use their receipt number, but then they will go ahead and put the troop number along with it. So that's kind of their receipt there from it. So you can do it any way that you want to, but otherwise it will just make its own automatic number in the system too, just like the cupboard tickets receipts do. So here, this is where you would enter it in. So if they just took 3 packages from us, we could just go ahead and put 3 packages. So only on troop to troop transfers can you enter it in by packages. For warehouse cupboard pickups, it's always done by cases, but for troop to troop, you can do by packages, and you can do save print or click OK. OK gives you that last chance to make sure everything's good before you click save. But just remember that if you are doing a troop to troop transfer, you actually can go back and edit. The only thing is that the other troop that you do that transaction on, they cannot edit it because they will actually be gray on their side. Okay, so whoever did the troop to troop transfer is the only one that could go back and edit it or delete it or change it, anything like that. So it's important to make sure that you are using the right troop number. Always make sure you have that paper receipt book filled out when it is a troop to troop transfer, because we don't want to have situations that we've had in the past where troops have called us and said, hey, I did a transfer with this troop. They met me after the cookie booth they were doing. Can you tell me what cookie booth, what troop was in front of us there? And so I've had to track down what number it was because they didn't have the receipt and then they couldn't remember what troop number it was. Okay, so I've had to make sure, call the other troop and verify, and yes, that is the troop, it was them, and all this stuff. So it's real important to make sure that you do have that receipt filled out. So if there's any issues or problems, we can make sure that it is done correctly there. So if you ever notice a transfer and it has that T on there, because that's talking about it's a troop, and you go, oh, that's not right, I didn't do a trade, I didn't do a transfer with another troop, then please make sure you contact us so that we can find out from the troop that did that troop to troop transfer who they really intended it. Did they swap numbers around by mistake, or they enter one too many numbers and thought it was the right one? Anything like that can happen. So we do want to make sure if you do have an issue to let us know. So I'm going to just stop right here and see if there's any questions for troop to troop transfers or the cookie exchange.
Right now, we have no questions at this time.
Okay, so now what we want to just talk about with you is the girl transactions. It's important to make sure that you do date and name all the transactions that you enter into eBuddy under the girl, because if you ever have a problem or an issue and you call us and say, can you take a look at this? It's really hard for us to try to figure out what you did when all we see is rows of numbers, okay? Also remember to make sure you have the caregiver sign an itemized receipt every time they pick up cookies or give you payment. There, okay, so that they are always signing off from that. So we're going to go ahead and show you some different transactions, why you may have different ones to do for a girl. So if we are here with Gemma, and so she had a whole bunch of cookies that were picked up from her initial order. And so maybe she was going to plan on doing cookies on the spot or lemon up stands and different things like that. But she also came in with a digital cookie order here for the $48. This is where it's real important to make sure that you're verifying. Remember that girls can use digital cookie as that take a customer payment button, so they can use it just to pay for cookies and it will come in like a girl delivered order, or it will be, as the um, as payment. Okay, so it can just be as payment or it could actually be cookies. So you want to remember that whenever you see those girl delivered orders, always verify with the caregiver to see whether they need the cookies or if they already have the cookies because they already had extra cookies on hand that they were selling and just using the digital cookie as payment. Okay, so some of them will still send that link out to somebody say, oh, well, go ahead and order your cookies through digital cookie and then just use that to pay for it. So you just always want to pay attention and make sure you know that and always talk to your caregivers about it. So if for Gemma, she had a lot of extra cookies. So for this $48, she goes, no, I don't need any of those cookies. I had them all. Okay, so then we could go ahead and just do an add transaction, or you could just do it as a payment there. Or maybe for this one, we'll say that we'll say she needed 2 boxes of s'mores. Okay, so sorry, we'll go ahead and say she didn't needed 2 boxes of s'mores. So, but she had all the other cookies. So this is what you would do. You would go ahead and put in what it was. So you could say that it was on today's date, that it was her girl delivery pickup, and she's going to pick up 2 boxes of s'mores. Okay. And then everything else was a done deal with it, that she already had those cookies, and you're going to click OK. And so $12 out of that $48 is used as payment for what she's owing out of that $752 there. So we're going to click save. You do just always want to try to be getting payment in, and especially as the weeks go by. Now you should be starting to collect money from the caregiver. So especially because this girl has quite a bit of cookies that were paper orders here from it, I would suggest that you actually tell the parent before I give you more cookies, especially more than, especially anytime they're asking for, more like cases and stuff like that. We don't want it to be an outrageous amount at the end of the sale that you're trying to collect from them. You want to put in the payments there. So maybe we went ahead and knew that she wanted to come by and get the 2 boxes there. So I went ahead and put them in there, but she decided when she got there, she was going to also pay me money. So she went ahead, and so I can go ahead and say it was a cash payment and that it was going to be $400. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So it's $400 there. And so you'll see that's reducing the amount of her balance there. And we're going to go ahead and click save from it. So that's going to be that transaction there. Again, anytime you're giving out the cookies, you want to make sure you fill out the receipts with your caregivers there from it to sign them. And I just want to go back into the help center because I'm going to just go with our how to assign cookies from it. So you'll just see some examples here of receipts from it. So like in this transaction over here, she had picked up 75 boxes of cookies. She owed us 378. But here, this was showing that they had online orders that paid for $45. So here she was only owing us $335. This one down here, again, that this was her balance carried over. She owed us $333, but she wanted to pick up some more cookies. So it was going to be another $255 for a total of $588. But while she was there, she had DOC online for $200 in sales. She had Clover for $45. Then she paid us cash of $215 for a total of $460. And now she would owe us $128. So all of those transactions you would be putting in there for those payments. You just want to remember if the person, so maybe at the end of the week, they said, oh, I did some Clover payments to pay for some of those other cookies I had. So maybe came the end of the week, I pulled the report and I looked at what her Clover was. So under her, Maybe she ended up taking another $50. In Clover payment, you would just go in there, title it, that date, and you would put it in there. And then, of course, you'd write a receipt next time you saw her. So you're just showing in that balance, and then it's going to reduce the amount that she is owing you from it because she's just paying for those cookies that she already has. Anytime, like we said, she needed to get more cookies, you need to make sure you do a transaction there to assign those cookies to her. So I'm going to stop right here because I think I saw some questions come in.
Yes. Um, how do you know if girl delivery from online they did not pay?
There, any girl delivered online is a payment. That's why it will show you that order number and it will show you a payment. So it's a payment automatically, you're getting payment in. Now, whether they need the cookies or not, that's another story. So I just want to bring back this one here just to show you a little bit. Um, when you are looking, this is what we kind of covered last week about the digital payment that people could use this take a customer payment. So what you want to understand that when you have a person that did a take a customer payment, it doesn't add to their cookie goals up here because it's just a payment and those cookies should already be assigned to the girl already. They're just using it as a form to pay for cookies that were not already paid for online, okay, from it. So what happens is that on the order screen, when you go to look at it, it will show that says take a customer payment feature utilized. So they should be using that just for the ones that they already had in hand and using it as payment feature. Okay, because again, they're not going to count as a digital cookie on their digital cookie screen. So when you look at the girls count there, it's not going to show it. But eBuddy doesn't know the difference because it's two different systems. So it brings it over as a girl delivered. So that's again why you want to just check with the parent to make sure whether they were needing those cookies or was it strictly a payment things, because we have had a couple issues. I've had some people email us and they're going, well, this parent said I needed to give them more cookies, but it said it was a payment feature. And so I go, well, did you talk to the parent and see what they were doing? And the parent didn't understand that that meant that it was just as a payment, that they didn't have those cookies in hand yet. Okay. So they did it as take customer payment instead of doing it as a digital cookie sale from it, because the person was standing there and said, oh, can I go ahead and pay for these? And the person goes, yeah, I'll get those cookies from the cookie mom tomorrow and I'll bring them back. So that's what has happened. So that's why we always say, even though it says that it was a payment feature, just make sure whether they need those cookies or not, because parents do make mistakes from it. So what you would do if the parent did that, where they accidentally, so I'm just going to switch to my other girl here. So here we'll show that she has two of these deliver payments, and they were supposed to be payments, or well, she did them as payments. I'll just show you here that those order numbers are matching these two that they used from it. And so we would just again verify with the caregiver that were these as payments. But we looked at hers and we go, oh well, she never even ordered any extra cookies, she only came and picked up what her additional orders were. So that's why we would want to make sure. And again, maybe that parent didn't realize what that button was. And so she went ahead and did it and took the payment, because they go, well, the person wanted to pay right then and there and they didn't have an email address. So I couldn't send them an email for them to do digital cookies. So I just went ahead because they were standing there and I know them from work. So I told them I'd just bring the cookies. I'd pick up cookies from you tonight and bring them to them tomorrow. So in that situation, again, you would just do add transaction. And so you just want to understand that they're not going to be counted as digital cookies because it wasn't done as a digital order. It's just going to be an add-on order from what it is. But if you want to write down the transaction, some people like to go ahead and say what it is. that they did pick up, and they said it was the order number, and then they were writing down the order number just so that they knew what the transaction was for. So if you want to put that information in eBay, you can, or just put that on the receipt that this was what that payment, or that was what you were assigning the cookies for. So in this case, it was going to be both of them on there. So, and it was going to be one Samoa and one Thin Mint that she needed for that order. So we click OK, and you'd save it here. And what you understand is that, again, these are already prepaid because that parent, that caregiver, used to take the payment feature from those cookies. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and just see if there's any other questions.
Yes. So we have to add additional cookies to the girls as a transaction as they receive girl delivery orders past the initial order.
Yes, if they don't have those cookies. Every time you give a cookie to them, you have to put it into the system if it wasn't already assigned. Like I said, for this girl here, she did not have any initial order. She didn't, what she picked up for her girl delivery is exactly what she needed to match up with what her orders were. Otherwise, the cookies are not assigned to her in eBuddy. So what will happen is that you'll have a whole bunch of cookies left in your troop. What will happen down here is that your numbers won't add up correctly. You'll have a lot of extra cookies down here that you'll say, why do I have this number say I have 377 cookies when I only have 150 in my kitchen, or my dining room? I don't know, and that's because you didn't assign the cookies to the girls. Because what's going to happen is when it comes to rewards, the girl's not going to get those rewards at however level. So if you gave her another 75 boxes of cookies, if you don't assign them to her, they're not going to count to her sales from it. So I'll just kind of show you, like here, it shows that she only has 50 cookies that were assigned to her from it. Okay, so if I gave her 50 more cookies because she had other orders and stuff like that, I would need to make sure I do a transaction so that they're assigned and accounted for her in eBuddy. So just because the number says something in digital cookie, that doesn't transfer over after the initial sale. The initial sale's locked, and that's why any of the girl delivered after the initial sale is only showing you the payment. It doesn't show you the amount of the cookies. Remember, to find out the variety, instead of clicking on all orders, you would go down to girl delivery. This one's just the demo site, so it doesn't show it, but on the real site, it would show you those transactions and it would show you the variety of cookies there. So again, you would want to get with the parent, that caregiver, to make sure whether she has those cookies already because she had a supply like Gemma did. Because Gemma, she had a whole bunch of cookies. She had 148 cookies that she could go out and sell because she was doing cookies on the spot, limit up stands, mobile booths, things like that from it. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense.
Okay, so we have another one. So we have to add additional cookies to the girls as a transaction as they receive girl delivery orders past initial order. So why does initial order assign them to her and then it's a manual after that?
Because the initial order, the system knew the girl didn't have those cookies. They had no cookies to begin with, so they needed them to begin with. That's why the system did it, just to help out at that piece. After that, the system doesn't know whether the parent, the caregiver, ordered extra cookies or not. So that's where it can't help you anymore. You have to find out from the caregiver, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Right now, there's no other questions at this time.
Okay. One of the questions was about how to do a negative transaction. So, let me see. Kennedy, I might have to delete. Okay, so let me delete this one because I showed that earlier. Sometimes you might have an issue where you either assign a whole bunch of cookies for that initial order to begin with because they said they were going to do limit up stands or something like that. Or now the girl just has dropped out and you don't know what's going on with her. As long as they were not girl delivered orders, then you could return those if the girl never came to pick them up. So maybe this person had originally said, yes, we're gonna do cookies on the spot, we're gonna do mobile booths, I want to pick up a whole bunch of cookies from you. Okay, and now when you try to contact them and say, okay, I've got all these cases of cookies that you said you wanted, and they go, oh well, we can't do that now, because whatever happened here and whatever happened here. So you're just going to have to keep those cookies. Okay, well, we want you to hopefully try to get rid of them, do the cookie exchange, post them out in your service unit area to see if there's anybody else who would want to get those cookies, or you may be using them for other add-on sales that you have for other girls. Okay, because I know a lot of troops have actually been needing the cookies from it. So if this girl never picked up those cookies and these were just paper orders, they were not, or even they weren't even a paper order, she was just ordering extra, have things on hand. Okay, so maybe you talk to the parent and they go, well, they're not anybody's order, they were just the ones I was going to do for those limit up stands and mobile booths. You can do a negative transaction. You can't change an initial order, but you could do a negative transaction. So this is a question that has come up a couple times, people calling and things like that. So you could say it was a troop return. So it's returned to the troop there. So what you would do negative for the number of what it was. Or maybe you made a mistake. It's happened before. We had a troop who, when they were putting in the paper orders, they didn't realize the handwriting from the caregiver. And so they actually ordered more cookies because they thought the number read something else from the screenshot that the person had taken. Okay. So things like that happen. Um, so you would just do a negative from it. You're going to click OK. You're going to see up here, oh, I got something wrong. Oops, 1 second. What did I do? Where am I 8? Oh, my 2's there. Okay, sorry, I put down wrong one. Oh, where did I get? It's not saving it right. Okay, I'm going to just delete this for a second. Because for some reason, oh, I know why, because I put positive. That's my mistake. See, I didn't have my negative there. I'm just trying to add it on. So I'm going to click OK. Now you'll see my 158. It took out that 30 there, and I'm going to click Save from it. And so it got it updated. So now it shows that she has 0 cookies assigned to her and 0 money to it. I should have showed you, but I forgot to. What happens is those cookies are going to be added back into your troop inventory. Okay, so I'll just do another transaction here for Ava. Here, let's just take a look so we can see our troop number. So here's 377 cookies it says our troop has. I'm going to show you that I've already made a mistake here, that I've actually overassigned cookies to her from it. So maybe this was the one where on Gemma, she was going to pick up those 2 s'mores. Well, maybe I still are waiting for the other troop to do the troop to troop transfer. Maybe I was going to have a troop who was going to give me 2 boxes. So I told them, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the system for right now to assign it so that as soon as I get those from the other cookie manager, then I can be okay with it back into my inventory, because maybe I actually really have those cookies. I already went and met with the cookie mom, but because she was taking out her inventory, she hasn't gotten home to assign them yet. Okay, sometimes that happens just because of the time that it may take before the person gets it put in there. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that's what that's showing, is that we have over assigned 1 box there. So right now it's showing us here the 377 boxes. So that's how many packages I technically should have in my kitchen or living room, wherever I have my cookies stored for our troop. That's what I have to use for booths or for additional sales, things like that. So every time you're assigning cookies out, they're going to reduce that number. So here for Ava, so when I was talking to her mom, she goes, oh yeah, maybe I'll go ahead and keep some extra on hand because people have been asking me about cookies. Can I do that? So she wants to go ahead and pick up some cookies. So we'll say this was at Friday. Okay, so this was going to be an add-on to her. So she wanted to get 4 packages of lemon ups, 4 packages of trefoil. She wanted to get 6 of the do-si-do. She was going to go ahead and get a case of Samoas, 6 of the tags, a case of Thin Mints. Maybe she wanted to go ahead and do one of or none of the s'mores or toffee. She'll let me know when she wants those. So we click OK. You're going to see that it's going to add it in there, and that's going to show how much money she would be owing us for those cookies. And we would go ahead and click Save to save that transaction there. Okay, so we took 44 packages out of our troop inventory. So now when I go back, you'll see now it shows that we have 333 packages for our troop inventory. So whenever you're assigning the cookies to girls, it's going to reduce your troop inventory, what that difference is there from it. Okay, so just be aware of that. One of the other questions we have is about booth sites. So if you have a booth in eBuddy that you're signed up for, to record the sales, it's quite easy. You go ahead and click on record sales. So I know that a lot of you are going to be doing booths this weekend. And so this is where you would go to that location and you could go ahead and put in what your girls sell. So if you did 4 or 5 lemon ups and you did 4 of the trefoils and 6 of the do-si-dos and 11 of the Samoas and 3 of the tags and maybe 14 of the thin mints and no s'mores, but we'll go, oop, gotta make it a 0. It'll give you little errors there. So just look and see what the error says. And then maybe we did 2 toffee there from it. So you want to check off who was not there, or you can deselect them and then select who was there. So maybe it was just Ava and Gemma. This is our virtual troop link, and then that's the other girl who's not participating. So then you can click distribute and it would evenly as even as possible. Okay, so sometimes one girl will get one, usually it's the first girl will get 1 box more. So sometimes you may want to manually add in just to even it out to someone from another sale from it. So then you go ahead and submit sale, and it's going to tell you that your site sales numbers are updated. So under girl orders, when you go and visit the girl now, you're going to see it's going to record that automatically, that distribution that you did. Okay, so that's why eBuddy, if you're doing the sites in there that are already selected that you signed up for, it makes it easy to do. If you're doing a site that you got permission for, but it's through the service unit and it's not one that we uploaded into eBuddy. There, if just so that you know, I am tomorrow afternoon and Friday afternoon, I'll be uploading the ones that are troop specifics for people. Okay, so that they'll be showing up into the Finder and eBuddy also. But that's if it's given to me. Some service units do, some service units don't from it. So, but just to be aware of it, if I got paperwork from it, you may see those populate into the system. But if you do a booth of your own that you've because it's a family business and you got the paperwork filled out by your service unit and they go, yep, sure, no problem, because it's just a small plaza. There's no big grocery stores or anything like that in it. So you can go ahead and put in what you did. So maybe this was going to be on the 14th, and this was going to be Claire's Flowers. So it's Valentine's Day, and you figured out what each girl, you divided it in half because it was the 2 girls there from it. So it was going to be 5 lemon ups. It was going to be 6 of the trefoils. It's going to be 8 of the do-si-dos. It was going to be 12 of the Samoas. It was going to be 7 tags, and then it was going to be 16 of the thin mints there, and 1 toffee each. So you would be dividing up. So maybe you had a really good sale. It was 110 boxes total, but 55 was going to be assigned to each girl there from it. So you would be doing that yourself. You could also check off so it does count as a booth sale. Excuse me, in the system from it. And then if you know the math, you can put it in there because you would have your booth worksheet, which I'll show you in just a moment what it is. But if you don't, my little cheat is you just go ahead and see what it is now. So it says it was $276. The system will tell you. You go ahead and put in as it was paid because it was paid by the people at the booth there. And then you go ahead and click save. from it. So that's how you can do a booth transaction if it's one that's not recorded into eBuddy. I do just want to show you before I answer questions about it on the Help Center here, under Forms and Guides. We do have the, where is it? My cookie booth worksheet. So cookie booth worksheet, when you download it, this is what you want to have for your cookie booth. So it's what you put down for your beginning inventory, your ending inventory. So it shows you how many total boxes sold. And then this is giving your calculations there. So you should always have a cookie booth worksheet with you at your cookie booth, along with making sure that you are doing any of the other downloads for the etiquette and the COVID protocols. You should have that printed out so that whoever your caregivers are that are doing the cookie booth understand what the regulations are from it. Also, consequences there. There's a little video to kind of show. We did that last year with girls to kind of show you booth etiquette from it. And tomorrow, hopefully, I will get all of the maps with all the malls locations because we just had to, as we get them all set up at the malls this week, I'm just getting to where their locations and everything are, so then we can set them up and have those in there. So hopefully tomorrow I will get the locations of the rest of the booths there from it. So just be aware of that. So any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you show us how to delete a transaction?
Delete a transaction. Yep, very easy. So if I make a mistake and I click on it, I want it to be orange because I go, oh my goodness, I really messed that one up. It's easier for me just to delete it. I can click my delete button. It's going to tell me, are you sure you want to delete the selected rows? And I say, okay, yes, I do. And then just make sure you save it. And that gets you updated.
Credit card payments, when you don't have Clover, do we just take turns with the girls' individual accounts for payments?
Are you for a
I'm
booth?
assuming, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming maybe she's talking about the digital cookie.
Well, if you're trying to use it at a booth, some troops have done that in the past with through digital cookie, and with the take customer payment you could do that. You just want to make sure. I would suggest it would probably be whoever is cookie mom, um, or whoever's there making sure they know, and hopefully they aren't doing a whole bunch of other transactions, because sometimes it does get a little confusing when you use that digital cookie for your troop payments, because what happens is that you would have to do those sales and reverse them out. You would have to reverse the payments out from the girl that you used so that you can use it and spread it across for your booth. Okay, so that's just one of those things. You can use the digital cookie. We've had troops in the past use digital cookie at their booths instead of doing Clover there from it. If you still want to sign up for Clover, you can do the Clover training and the GS Learn and fill out your request form, and I can send you the onboarding link. You just won't have the equipment right now from it, but you don't need the equipment. You can just download the Clover Go app and use that from your phone. And use the app. You don't have to have a reader. Readers just make it nicer that you can do the chip, the swipe, the dip, like a touch tap. So it allows you to accept a little bit more payments than just doing the optical card reader or keying in someone's card information off of their credit card from it. So Clover is an option there. Just be aware that we pay for the processing fees for the credit card itself. We've We don't pay for the rapid deposit fee. That's just asking you to try to get your money quicker. We're not paying for that fee, and that's a 1% charge. We don't cover that. We only cover the actual credit card processing fee, and the payments are deposited into your Troops bank account, usually within 3 to 5 business days there from it. Sorry, we're just waiting for for Esther's little puppies to calm down a moment before she can read another question to me.
Really quick, second part. How do you find hometown hero cookies?
Oh, Hometown Heroes. Typically, for Hometown Heroes, you are going to put them in. Some troops like to kind of wait to the end just so that they can kind of keep track of them. And then do it just so they can kind of see and not use the cookies that they have in inventory right now from it. What happens is that when you assign a transaction for Hometown Hero, so we'll say that this parent, she got one and she goes, oh, I was going around and this person just wanted to go ahead and do a Hometown Hero from it. They didn't want to purchase any cookies, but they gave me $20 from it. So what $20 would be for 4 packages. So this is where typically it's coming from your troops inventory from it. It wouldn't be from the girl, it would be from the troops inventory. The parent caregiver is just paying you the troop. So they're paying that $20 from the customer. And we'll click OK. And you're going to save it. So what's going to happen when we go down here back to our orders, you're going to see right now we have 284, but if we added up everything that we have here, we actually would have 288 packages showing. And that's because 4 packages are going to be left outstanding down here, even though it shows that they're used because you did technically assign them, but it's because you can't assign the variety to the girl. What's going to happen is you're going to just have cookies that are not assigned to the girl technically. It's just showing Hometown Hero, and those cookies would be the ones that you're donating to your Hometown Hero there from it. So they do get assigned to a girl, but you're not actually choosing the variety. So that's where at the end of the season, if I had a whole bunch of lemon ups or trefoils or whatever, those extra, the cookies I have left, that's where those Hometown Hero cookies, you could figure out what your troop has sold everything else, but then just use the remaining ones as the ones to fulfill for their Hometown Heroes. Just remember those are $5 packages. That if you had the s'mores or the toffee, it's only still going to credit $5 cookies in the system from it. Your troop would be out of pocket the extra dollar from it. Okay, so because that's all you're getting credit for is the $5 in the system as the $5 cookie.
No questions from now.
Okay, so if there's no questions, if you are okay with everything, you're free to go. I'm going to go ahead and have Esther turn off the recording now from it, but we'll go ahead and stay